You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Folks, education is also a huge issue. You got parents who are now trying to figure out, some who are going into work, now others who are at home. What do you do with your kids when schools have shut down? Universities and high schools, middle schools, elementary schools are saying they're going to go to distance learning online. But what happens when you're at home and you don't have the internet? Joining us right now is Principal Steve Perry of Capital Prep. Steve, glad to have you here. I was reading this story, Dallas Independent School District. They were talking about this here. They said 40% of their students, we keep talking about food, which is obviously important, and things along those lines. They said 40% of our students don't have internet.
Well, that's interesting because one of the things that's starting to happen is that, first of all, hello, Roland, long time no see. One of the things that's starting to happen throughout the country is some of the large internet providers, at least in the Northeast, I don't know about down south, are providing free internet for families during this time. They are, some of the online learning platforms are also doing the same thing, like Zoom is now free to educational services. So that's disappointing to hear that there is not a strategy in place in a place like Texas where the internet providers like Comcast and Xfinity and others aren't providing. Because in New York and Connecticut, I know for sure.
Well, first of all, Comcast made a statement. Which they actually posted, and I'll pull up in a second. But here's the deal, though. Again, if I don't have a router at home, I can't pick up the internet. And so, and what this is exposing, just like when it comes to on the economic side, what it is exposing are the gaps in the difference between, again, people who are middle class or upper middle class and people who don't. There are a lot of people who, if you're middle class, you go, it's like the whole deal with voter ID. You have these arrogant people, like, I don't understand, what's the problem? I mean, you have a driver's license. Well, guess what? Not everybody drives. And then a lot of people who don't need a driver's license because it's just not a requirement. And one person may think, well, this is just so basic, it's just so expected, like, why don't you have it? Not realizing somebody else's situation. To the point where we're saying, Henry, go to, actually, let me pull it up. Let me switch over here and pull up on this iPad over here. Comcast made this announcement a day ago. Henry, if you can pull up, you can. Today, we announced a comprehensive COVID-19 response to help keep Americans connected to the internet, offering free unlimited data, opening Xfinity Wi-Fi network nationally for free, waiving late fees, and helping low-income families get connected. What's happening though with a lot of schools, they're realizing not all kids have iPads, not all of them have computers, and so we're now seeing, again, this thing exposing the difference between the haves and the have-nots.
So who could disagree with that, right? But one of the things that is happening, Roland, is that many school systems are, in fact, allowing children to check out iPads or whatever the platform that they're going to be, whatever the mechanism they're going to use to use their online learning. So whether it be an iPad or a MacBook or Chromebook or whatever, they're allowing children to sign them out. And what is important about that is I think we have an opportunity that we've never had before in the American, not in our lifetime, in the American academic experience, to rethink the way in which we educate.
Right.
We actually now can begin to create schools of one like never before. We're very excited, believe it or not, Roland, about what we can do academically. However, there are real challenges. So on Tuesday, after school, there were helicopters flying above our school in Harlem because there's a bit of a war going on between a couple of communities. And because we're a charter school, we have children coming from various communities. And because we're in a densely populated area, there are kids coming from different communities coming to a central area. One of the young brothers who attends our school said, and this is before Corona was part of our decision-making process, he was concerned about summer. He said, the reason why I come to school early is because I need to get about his foolishness. We have real contextual challenges that are occurring that we're not thinking about. Our schools, in many cases, are the safest place for many of our children. Again, the kids I work with are in places like Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Hartford, Connecticut, and Harlem, and the Bronx. Communities that are struggling in many ways. And so our children are afraid to be home. So while we're excited about what we can do to teach them, and I wish I could show you some of the really cool things our faculty are putting together, I also have to keep in mind that what's happening in our community is a real thing. Our block was surrounded by police officers just because kids were getting into foolishness. It's not even summer yet.
Well, it is certainly, I think, for a lot of people, showing the gaps in our education system. Our income system is showing the gaps in employment, in healthcare, and in moments like this. And I would hope you have people who are not just focused on the short term, but realize that, hey, this is one of those opportunities that you can use to actually deal with some of the larger issues. I said this same thing. If you read Ron Susskind's book, Confidence Man, talking about the economic team of President Barack Obama, he said that he actually had on his campaign team, he had an A team, but when he got to the White House, he chose the B team versus the A team. Here's an opportunity where we need our big thinkers to say, how can we deal with some of the structural issues when you have this sort of calamity? I'm not quite sure that they're going to be thinking that way, but I think we should be pushing them to think much bigger and broader. Steve Perry, always a pleasure, man, and keep handling your business.
Likewise,
bro. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, so a lot of y'all are always asking me about some of the pocket squares that I wear. Now, Robert don't have one on. Nope. Now, I don't particularly like the white pocket squares. I don't like even the silk ones. And so I was reading GQ magazine a number of years ago, and I saw this guy who had this pocket square here, and it looks like a flower. This is called a shibori pocket square. This is how the Japanese manipulate the fabric to create this sort of flower effect. So I'm going to take it out and then place it in my hand so you see what it looks like. And I said, man, this is pretty cool. And so I tracked down, it took me a year to find a company that did it. And so they basically about 47 different colors. And so I love them because, again, as men, we don't have many accessories to wear, so we don't have many options. And so this is really a pretty cool pocket square. Now, what I love about this here is you saw when it's in the pocket, you know, it gives you that flower effect like that. But if I wanted to also, unlike because if I flip it and turn it over, it actually gives me a different type of texture. And so therefore it gives me a different look. So there you go. So if you actually want to get one of these shibori pocket squares, we have them in 47 different colors. All you got to do is go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All right, so first of all, that graphic is way too small. So tomorrow we're going to run it right down here all across the screen. So it's RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All you got to do is go to my website and you can actually get this. Now, for those of you who are members of our Bring the Funk fan club, there's a discount for you to get our pocket squares. That's why you also got to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And so that's what we want you to do. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to jazz your look up, you can do that. In addition, y'all see me with some of the feather pocket squares. My sister, who's a designer, she actually makes these. They're all custom made. So when you also go to the website, you can also order one of the customized feather pocket squares right there at RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. So please do so. And of course, it goes to support the show. And again, if you're a Bring the Funk fan club member, you get a discount. This is why you should join the fan club. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.